quick note to you all before I begin this video. It seems everyone took the last video as Dominator is bad, and this is not the case. I still don't mind the game, but I understand that every game has flaws except Burnout 3, because that game is perfect, right? This is not the case for this video. I don't wish this game to burn in the deepest depths of hell, but I don't like it. Now, let me begin. So, for those who don't know, Paradise pretty much took a 180-degree turn for Burnout and changed up most of what made it Burnout in the first place. Open world was introduced, game modes were rewritten, and the game decided to use the compass system, which basically ended almost every event at one of 8 locations. The problem with this is that it fucking sucks. Events are repetitive as shit and painfully boring once you hold first like the rest of the series. To make matters worse, they all feel pretty much the same with you doing them again and again every new license. Say, isn't repetition a reviewer complaint in a lot of games? The events usually consist of the same objectives, some getting higher the more you complete them, except races which stay the same with 8 cars, 6 cars, or 2 cars, burning routes which have almost no difficulty to them, and marked man which is also easy most of the time. But this is just 1.0. I haven't even gotten to the bottom of it. You know what I fucking hate? 1.9. I hate the vibrant color palette that makes the city feel like a circus tent. I hate the annoying ass script that forces you into the wall when shunted. I hate the reduced damage model, and I hate the mediocre DLC that adds literally nothing of worth to the game besides a puny ass island. Yeah, it's an open world, that's great and all, but you know something open world games need to work? Liveliness and interesting things to do in it. All Paradise offers you is a dead and boring as shit open world with no interesting landmarks, and all you could do is do showtime, which is extremely uninteresting and unsatisfying to play, beat times on all the roads, which doesn't give much satisfaction either, drive around, or do the same events you've been doing since you began playing. They give you collectibles, but I just can't find any worth in them. Cool, I get a carbon-covered car, but why can't I get something unique instead? It's literally reskins of some of the main cars. And speaking of reskins, let me say something about this game's DLC. Police DLC? Reskins. The toy cars? Also reskins. Or redesigns, I should say. The special vehicles? Reskins. Most of the cars in this game feel bland and not belonging to the rest of the series. They seem to have this unique design that sets them apart from literally most, if not the entire series, and they seem like they wouldn't fit anywhere else. And why are the retail skins so shit? What happened to this? Or this? Or this? Or this too? And why did like over half, if not more, of the traffic cars go in use? Tow trucks? Semis? SUVs? Dump trucks? Why is there no circuit racing? I have so many questions about this game, but hell if I know how many will actually get answered. The map got changed, which I guess I can reason with, but why'd they scrap the island airport and the racing stadium? There's a dirt track with a hidden airport, but neither are all that exciting. In terms of mechanics, where do I begin? First off, the car combat is actually a joke. If 1.9, which I mentioned before, if you're shunted, you're fucked because it forces you right into the wall, whereas in 1.0, it does this annoying camera shake and pushes you aside. The car combat is so weak and terribly bad, it hurts to do. Takedowns are easier than ever to get, most cars seemingly have no weight, and getting taken out is harder than actually crashing yourself. The shutdowns are a neat idea in question, but with the game's poor car combat and the lack of AI fighting to keep their car in the first place, it makes it all too easy unless they drive through heavy traffic. Crashes are okay, but the lack of impact time is quite irritating, despite showtime pretty much being impact time, but it's a retarded minigame. But I don't understand the handbrake all that much when the regular handbrake technically fulfills its actual use, although it does work well when you need to turn on a dime. Oh, and before I forget, cars have seemingly infinite gears, or just so many you don't bother to count. And does anyone know what happened to driveways after 1.0? In 1.9 they seem almost non-existent and very rare to get, resulting in you being totaled if somebody even sneezes on your fucking car. Also, why did they decide it was a good idea to completely muffle music in larger vehicles such as the Pioneer, as well as suppress it in all vehicles unless you're in bumper cam? Why are these changes necessary to the game or helpful in any way at all? And the soundtrack? Oh god! Just why? I really hate the selection with a large portion from Dominator, but with a nice hint when the series was good with most of the composed tracks featured, but the original songs? There's only like one that I genuinely like. The rest are meh or just straight up garbage. Creepshow, Cities and Dust, ugh. And again, why the fuck is Avril Lavigne in a goddamn racing game? Why did they keep the song? Who in their right mind likes it in anyways? What happened to picking previous artists to keep the torch passing? If this isn't the absolute worst soundtrack out of the entire series, I don't know what is. And the worst offender of this entire game series? Not Burnout Crash, but Burnout Paradise Remastered. See, I don't like Burnout Paradise, but I don't hate it with an absolute burning passion. I do hate Remastered with a burning passion, however, for numerous reasons. See, growing up with the game, you tend to easily point out the issues when you're older and playing Remastered. I was not only greeted with the misery of 1.9 and updates before that, I also got a nice taste of Piss Filter and was able to point out plenty of bugs I encountered playing as a kid. It's not the fact that they chose my least favorite of the series to remaster that makes me hate it the most. It's the fact that it's literally a fucking piss filter and texture mod slapped over the game and resold. If they really wanted to be honest about the game, just call it Burnout Paradise for fuck's sake. Why did they call it a remaster if it brings nothing new to the table or fixes anything broken besides Big Surf Island on PC? There was no need for the remastered in the name, and it would have just sold as well, advertised as a port like it should be. It's literally false advertisement. Now, on the topic in relation to scrap content that angers me, there's a few problems I have with changes to the game, obviously. For one, map changes were completed between March 06 and May 07, including the removal of the stadium and scrapping of the location that was never likely in the game, the island airport, which I don't understand at all. I can reason with them chopping off the bottom portion of the map for performance purposes, but not two interesting landmarks that very well could have been suited to the game and ran with it just fine. Something I also found a bit angering was the removal of the ability to change your car's wheels. Now, I have no idea when this was scrapped, all I know is that it is seen in the November 2006 build of Burnout 5. Impact time I also find a bit irritating, but I can reason with it being removed. Now, something that really disappoints me is the driver system that was featured in earlier versions of the game being scrapped and repurposed as a shutdown system. To combat the boring and empty open world full of nothing but road stunt opportunities and traffic, they originally had drivers that would cruise around, or you could see them racing, similar to the Test Drive Unlimited games. And by beating them up, you could initiate a road rage. Some other cool things scrapped from the game include Eliminator, which I presume is the 60-second or 30-second formula from Burnout Revenge, Traffic Attack, and traffic checking itself. A few of these features were still present in E3, including these scrapped modes, traffic checking, and the driver system. Why they were scrapped is likely due to either performance reasons with a few modes, a problem with them that could not be fixed before the game's deadline, or scrapped due to a change in the game's creative direction, because after all, they didn't want to have many things the same as the old games. I'd show more screenshots of some of these features in action, but I don't know how public they can be since Super Type 1 will eventually be detailing those. And on that note, I should probably wrap up. I could go on and on about these games, but I really don't want to end up repeating myself trying to get out as many points as I can, and Remastered already made a joke out of itself for me to do a whole video of it. Before I drag this shit too long, I'm the fuck out of here.